Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We head for the movies this hour with an episode of the Screen Directors Playhouse, a production of It's a Wonderful Life. Yes, this aired May 8th, 1949. It's never a bad season to hear about George Bailey. And, of course, Jimmy Stewart stars.
From Hollywood, the NBC Theater presents...
Screen Director's Assignment. Production, It's a Wonderful Life. Director, Frank Capra. Star, Jimmy Stewart.
The Hollywood Screen Directors present a flight of fancy into time that never was. It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart, and introducing the director of the film, Frank Capra. For a motion picture audience, there can be only one measure of a truly great director. His name by itself must be a badge of excellence upon the screen. Such is the name of our guest screen director tonight, for it has become a synonym for unforgettable motion picture entertainment. The NBC Theater is proud to present the distinguished director of such brilliant films as It Happened One Night, Lost Horizon, You Can't Take It With You, and tonight's story, It's a Wonderful Life. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Capra.
Thank you. The story of It's a Wonderful Life became a motion picture by a rather roundabout way. It started out as a simple message of goodwill, a brief fantasy printed on Christmas cards to be exchanged between friends. It was a fine story, warm and human and exciting in a very unusual way. We felt that it had something that perhaps could be shared by everyone. That's why we made the picture. And now tonight we hope to share it with you again as a radio play. It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart in his original role of George Bailey.
Your Supreme Excellency, I, Clarence Oddbody, Angel of the Second Class, do make application for promotion to Angel of the First Class for services as follows. On Christmas Eve of 1948, one George Bailey of Bedford Falls was on the point of committing suicide, an act abhorrent both to his maker and to the Hemisphere Federation Mutual Life Insurance Company. Feeling in exceedingly low spirits, George Bailey did go, proceed, and travel to the high-level bridge where he mounted the rail. Before George Bailey could weep into the icy current, I, Clarence Oddbody, did hurl, project, and fling myself past the great Magellanic Cloud, through the constellation Lyra, into the Earth's atmosphere and the Bedford River, executing, if I do say so myself, a perfect swan dive. Help! Save me! I can't swim! Help!
Relax, well, don't struggle.
Help!
I'm coming in after you.
Help!
Here I come.
It's a good thing this old toll house on the bridge was unlocked.
Yeah, well, we can both dry off in here without freezing.
Yeah.
How'd you happen to fall into the river?
I didn't fall in.
Huh?
Well, I knew if you thought I was drowning, you'd jump in to save me. So I jumped in.
You jumped in?
To save you. You see, you didn't go through with it.
Go through with what?
Suicide.
How'd you know I was going to... Hey, who are you?
I'm an angel.
A what?
An angel. Clarence Oddbody, AS2.
Oh. AS2. What's the AS2?
Angel second class.
Oh, I see. What are you, crazy?
Well, I'll confess I've been rather distracted for the past few centuries due to my failure to acquire my first-class wings. But crazy? If I do a good job on you, I'll get my wings.
Brother, you haven't even got your buttons.
Why don't you tell me your troubles?
Oh, you're balmy, that's why.
Well, then humor me. Do you good to talk.
Yeah. Well, that's about all I have left in life. Let's talk about it.
Well, talk.
Oh, I was going to knock 'em dead, I was. I was going to shake the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I was going to see the world, build things, do things, travel, the Taj Mahal and silken Samarkand and the moon pools of the east and Everest and the deep Aegean. Yeah, pipe dreams.
Why?
Well, my deaf ear, for one thing.
Oh, that was when Howie, your kid brother, fell through the ice back in 1919.
I jumped in to save him. Hey, how'd you know that?
I read it in the Gabriel Daily Trumpet.
Well, anyway, I got an ear infection. It was weeks before I could go back running errands at the Gower drugstore. So what does Gower do? He hits me in my bad ear.
Why?
Well, he just heard about his son. He died in college from typhoid. Gower had been drinking. I wouldn't deliver some medicine for Mrs. Blaine's little girl because the bottle he took it out of was marked poison.
Dear.
Well, Doc Gower smacked my bad ear, and I guess I cried. But I finally made him understand his mistake.
Was Doc Gower grateful?
Well, he cried.
11
years later, he bought me a fine set of pigskin luggage to take on my world trip.
Oh, then you did go away.
There was a girl in town named Mary. We'd grown up together, and she was engaged to Sam Wainwright. I had an hour or so before train time, and I stopped over at Mary's house.
Well, George, just think. After all these years and all your planning and saving and wishing, you're going to realize your great ambition.
This is the most exciting day of my life, Mary.
We'll miss you terribly in Bedford Falls.
Well, I'll only be away a year.
You'll write, won't you?
I'll send you a golden apple from the Garden of the East for your wedding present.
Thanks. I'll make golden applesauce out of it.
What's the matter? What, I say something wrong? Hey, the doorbell's ringing.
I know the doorbell's ringing. Don't you sneak away, George Bailey. I want to talk to you.
Mary, I'm looking for George.
Uncle Billy, what brings you over here to Mary's?
George, your father's just had a bad stroke.
Oh, no.
Dad, what is he?
No, but I don't think you'd better start on your trip, George. Not just now, anyhow.
Well, go on, George.
Well, Dad was gone that same night. That gave old man Potter his chance.
Old man Potter?
Yeah, richest man in town, a banker, a big stockholder in our loan company. We'd always fought Potter on a lot of issues, and now he wanted the loan company to dissolve so he could rule the roost in Bedford Falls. Potter and I had it out a week after Father died, right in the boardroom alone. Now, just a minute there, Potter. Now, just hold on here just a minute. I admit that in the 25 years since Father and Uncle Billy here started this loan company, we didn't make any money. I admit that. But who gave the low-income people in this town decent homes to live in, huh?
You did?
Yes, Mr. Potter, we did. Who built Bailey Park of model dwellings where you wanted to put Poor Cemetery?
You did.
That's right, we did. We gave this town those things. We gave Bedford Falls and its citizens...
That's the trouble with you, Baileys. You gave everything. No wonder you never made any money.
What's galling you, Potter, is...
Mr. Potter to you, Bailey.
My nephew is Mr. Bailey to you, Potter.
Your nephew is wet behind the ears, you mindless fool.
Say that again. Say that again.
Just keep out of this, Uncle Billy. I'll handle Potter.
Mr. Potter, the stripling.
What's eating you is that you can't gain control of this loan company, Mr. Potter. It's up to this board to decide what to do about the company now that Father's gone. But if I can do anything to help keep Bailey Park a reality and to keep Potter from making people crawl to him when they need help, just count me in, gentlemen. Count me in. As a result of that speech, the board voted to continue the loan company if I'd remain as vice president.
Goodbye, trip around the world, huh?
Yeah. At least until Brother Harry came home from college to take over for me. Only Harry came home with a wife.
Well, that's co-education for you.
Yeah. But did his wife's father have to give Harry a big job out of town?
Oh, I see. Leaving you holding the bag with the loan company.
Yeah. Hey, what's that music?
That's a church hymn. Old 100. Seems to me Mary sang it that day long ago. Remember? In the church choir. After church, you walk Mary home. Remember, George? Remember?
Come in for a minute, George.
Well, just for a minute,
Here,
Mary.
let me take your hat and coat.
Mary? Who's that down there with you?
It's George Bailey, Mother.
What do he want?
Well, I don't know. What do you want, George?
Me? Well, not a thing. I just came in to get warm.
He's making violent love to me, Mother.
Well, tell him to stop. It's Sunday.
Hey, now, look here, Mary. I didn't come here to...
What did you come here?
Well, I just walked you home, that's all.
Lots of girls ogling you at church. Why pick on me?
Well, now, listen, Mary,
Why don't you go home?
Well, I will.
Thanks.
Where's my hat?
You got it on.
Thanks.
You're entirely welcome.
Goodbye.
Deaf in one ear and blind in both eyes. That's you, George Bailey.
Now what's the matter?
You ought to see a specialist. You can't even tell when the girl you've walked to school with all your life. Oh, go see a big eye, ear, nose, and throat man.
Why, Mary. Hey, Mary. Hey, let's go and see a specialist together. Reverend McAllister, big hymn, sermon, and wedding ceremony man, huh?
And so you were married, huh, George?
Yeah, I had about $2,000 saved, and it looked like a fine chance to combine that world trip with a honeymoon.
What?
A little thing called the Great Depression.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a run on the loan company started by some false rumors of Potter's. At the last minute, Mary threw in the $2,000. It was just enough to reassure our investors, and we didn't have to close up.
And you didn't have a honeymoon either.
No, but Potter was licked again. So when he called me into his office one day, I was just about the most surprised man in Bedford Falls.
Well, I want to tell you, George, my lad, that during the Depression, you and I have been about the only ones kept our heads in this town.
Thanks, Miss Potter.
Yeah, all that talent, and where does it get you? 28 and 29, married, and making $40 a week.
45.
Yeah, and you're the smartest young fella in town.
All right. Now, what's your point, Mr. Potter?
I want to hire you.
You want to hire me?
Manage my affairs, run my properties. $20,000 a year.
Dollars?
And 2 months vacation with pay before you start work. Take yourself a little jaunt around the world first, eh?
Oh, Everest, the Vale of Kashmir, and the moon pools of the east, and the deep Aegean, and the whispering Aurora.
Well, George?
Well, but what about the loan company?
Well, what about it? We'll dissolve it.
Oh, no. I don't want your dirty job.
What?
You sit here and you think the whole world revolves around you and your money. Well, it doesn't.
You're out of your mind.
I won't let you buy me away from the people who depend on me.
Rubbish.
And I've made my decision, Potter.
And may it stick in your craw to regret as long as you live, George Bailey. May it stick in your fool craw.
May 8th, 1949, the Screen Directors Playhouse, It's a Wonderful Life on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. I have to say some wonderful things here, even though Jimmy Stewart does a great job, as usual, as George Bailey in this adaptation. Arthur Q. Bryan as Clarence the Angel does a great job. Georgia Backus, Hans Conried as the evil Mr. Potter. Herb Butterfield, Irene Tedrow, and Joseph Granby. A wonderful cast for this adaptation of the Screen Directors Playhouse, May 8th, 1949 on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We continue now.
After your marriage to Mary Chase and your very spunky rejection of Potter's offer to manage his affairs, what happened? How'd it go?
Oh, I stuck it out a few more years with the loan company. Then the war. Doc Gower and Uncle Billy sold war bonds. And Harry. My kid brother Harry shot down 2 Jap suicide planes just as they were about to crash on a transport full of U.S. troops.
Well, what about you?
On 4F.
The bad ear?
Well, it just wasn't in the books for me to get out of Bedford Falls, that's all.
Well, it brings us to tonight, Christmas Eve. What made you want to jump off the bridge into the river?
I can give it to you fast. The bank examiner came to check our books, and we were $8,000 short. Next question.
Where did the $8,000 go?
Well, if I knew, I wouldn't be here on the bridge, would I?
No.
All I know is that I sent Uncle Billy to deposit $8,000 to our account over at Potter's bank. Uncle Billy talked to Potter for a while in Potter's office, and then he went over to the teller's window to deposit the money, only it was gone.
Well, where?
How do I know where? I was almost insane. I questioned Uncle Billy half the night trying to locate that missing $8,000, but it was no use.
Please, George, please don't ask me any more questions. I can't think anymore.
You've got to think anymore, you stupid, fumbling fool. I've got to have that money. Do you realize what this means to us? It means bankruptcy and scandal and shame and prison. Now, one of us is going to jail for this, but it's not going to be me. I've had enough of being the fall guy for this crummy little town. You can just deal me out of this one. I've given up my years and my ambition for the people of this town, and all I've got is frustration and disappointment. And I've had just about as much as I can swallow. It's sticking in my craw, just like Potter said it would.
Well, maybe Potter would lend you $8,000.
Potter?
Maybe.
Potter? Well, it's their only chance.
Well, what about all your fine friends you've done so much for, George? Why don't they lend you the money,
Well, they don't have that kind of money, Mr. Potter. You know that. Now, please help me.
Yeah. Well, what kind of security do you have? Any stocks?
No, sir.
Bonds?
No, sir.
Real estate collateral of any kind?
Well, I've got a $15,000 life insurance policy.
What's its loan value?
$500.
$500. Look at you. You were going out and lick the world once. What are you now? You're a miserable clerk crawling in here on your hands and knees and begging for help. $500. Now, you're worth more dead than alive.
Oh, that's very true.
So you want me to help you, huh? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to swear out a warrant for your arrest.
Arrest?
Misappropriation of funds.
Arrest, but Mr. Potter...
Merry Christmas, George.
And so, because you were worth $500 alive and $15,000 dead, you thought killing yourself would make everybody happier?
Yeah, better still, I should never have been born.
What's that? What's that you said?
I said I wish I'd never been born.
That's what I thought you said. George, they've granted your wish. And maybe I've got the scheme to win me my wings. Angel first class.
What wish?
George, you've never been born.
Oh, stop it, will you? You're talking like an idiot.
Am I, George? Let's see.
Excuse me, man. Got a match?
Who are you?
Come in, Doc. Come in.
Got a match, anybody?
Hey, you're Doc Gower, the druggist.
I was Doc Gower, the druggist. Until I poisoned a little girl by mistake.
Oh, no, wait a minute,
Been
Doc.
drunk ever since.
Now, Doc, don't you remember? I discovered your mistake, and I warned you just in time.
Oh, you.
Well, don't you remember me? I'm little George Bailey. I ran errands for you.
Nobody named George Bailey ever worked for me. Match?
Here you are, Mr. Gower.
All I need is a cigar.
Here you are, Mr. Gower.
Reply. God rest you, merry gentlemen. May none of you is...
Oh, wait, Doc.
Let him go, George. Let him go.
That broken old derelict, Doc Gower.
Well, you weren't born, George, so you couldn't prevent that broken old derelict.
Hey, wait a minute.
May 8th, 1949, the Screen Directors Playhouse production of It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart. The conclusion follows these messages from your favorite station. This is Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the Screen Directors Playhouse production of It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart, May 8th, 1949.
Hey, I'm going home.
Home? What home? You never lived.
Oh, shut up now. Cut it out. You're crazy.
Let's see if I am. We'll go to your home. Ride the bleak wind, George Bailey. Let's see where you live. Let's see.
I tell you, this boarding house can't be my mother's house.
Knock again.
Oh, this broken-down old shack, my mother's house?
Knock again, George Bailey.
All right, but...
There's no vacancy.
Mother.
What are you talking about?
Mother, please help me. There's something terrible's happened to me. Just keep me here until I get over it, please.
I never saw you before in my life. Don't take in strangers unless somebody I know sent them.
Uncle Billy sent me, your brother.
You knew him.
Well, of course I know him. I saw him just today.
That's a lie. He died in the insane asylum after old man Potter took over the loan company. Why do you lie to me?
Mother, please.
Good night.
Mother.
Come on, George. We've other places to go.
Why are we in the public library on Christmas Eve?
Some people work late if they're lonely and have no Christmas to go home to. Like that pinched-looking woman at that desk there.
Mary.
Yes?
Mary.
The library's closed, you know.
Mary, you're my wife.
You must be quite out of your senses.
Now, look at me. Look at me, Mary. I'm George. I'm your husband. We're married.
I never married. Man I'd marry never was born, if you must know. I hate them.
Mary, now look at me. I'm George Bailey. You're Mrs. George Bailey.
I'll call the police.
Mary, you must listen to me.
Hello.
Please, Mary.
Hello.
Mary, listen to me.
Give me the police and hurry.
It's very dark on this road.
Yes.
I'm cold.
Stop here.
Where are we?
Potter's Field.
You mean Bailey Park?
I mean the poor cemetery.
You mean my low-cost home development?
Look where you stand.
Gravestones.
Here dwell in final squalor and humility the nameless, the vagrant, the very poor, the disinherited. You put them here.
Well, I tell you, no, I built Bailey Park on this ground.
Read that tilting gravestone at your feet. Read.
In memory of our beloved son, Harry Bailey, 1911, 1919. This isn't true. Harry's alive today. He went to war. He shot down 2 planes that saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Your brother Harry broke through the ice at the age of 9.
It's a lie. He saved the life of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died.
No.
You killed those men on that cruise ship. You wished it so.
I didn't.
You.
Please.
You.
No.
Yes. Harry wasn't there to save those men because you weren't there to save Harry. You wished it so.
Yes. Forgive me, Clarence.
You see, George, you'd have lived a pretty wonderful life if you'd only been born a strong, useful life.
I know now. I know that no man is an island unto himself. I know now that our lives are woven inseparably one to another. I know that life bestowed by the Almighty is for no man to reject.
Then my work is done.
Wait, Clarence. Help me. Help me get back. I want to live again. I'm glad I was born. I want to live again.
When you hear the musical chimes, I will have won my wings. Guardian angel, first class.
Send me back, Clarence. Send me back to life again.
Live, George Bailey.
Send me back.
Live.
Thank you, God.
Live.
Thank you.
Live.
George!
Live.
George!
What?
Oh,
Mary.
Oh, George, darling.
Mary, how'd you know I was here?
I was so afraid for you. I thought of the bridge, too.
I'm sorry, Mary.
Oh, please come home. We've been looking for you.
Looking for who?
The whole town. Everyone in Bedford Falls that you ever helped. And that's everybody.
I know, but there's $8,000 missing from the loan company.
They know that. And they've taken up a collection to help you for all you've done for them. There's more than $8,000 under the Christmas tree.
No.
Cash, money orders, and checks.
No.
Yes.
Well, hallelujah.
Merry Christmas, George.
Hey, Mary. Hey, listen.
I didn't hear anything.
When you hear the musical chimes...
What chimes?
Attaboy, Clarence. Attaboy.
Our guest will return in just a moment. Next week, the NBC Theater brings you another outstanding motion picture story to the microphone as we present the romantic drama, Hold Back the Dawn. And our star will be Charles Boyer. And now, here again is tonight's star, Jimmy Stewart, and screen director, Frank Capra.
Say, Frank, do you mind if I ask you a professional question?
Not at all, Jimmy.
How do you turn out so many wonderful pictures? What's the secret, anyway?
You really want to know?
Yeah, I really do.
Clarence.
Huh?
Clarence, the angel.
What do you... Well, you mean the character in the story?
Oh, sure. He's been around for years. Stands behind my right shoulder and tells me what to do when I'm in trouble. He practically directs all my pictures.
Clarence, huh? On a movie set.
Yeah, well, it was a little difficult at first.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He didn't have a Screen Directors Guild card.
Yeah. Well, tell me, Frank, if Clarence was so smart, how come we had to shoot the last scene of It's a Wonderful Life 5 times?
Oh, that. Well, you see, Jimmy, that...
Hey, Capra, better quit while you're even. Say good night. Let's get out of here.
Okay, Clarence. See how he keeps me out of trouble? Good night, everyone.
Good night, folks.
And good night to you, Jimmy Stewart and Frank Capra. It's a Wonderful Life is presented to the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, whose current release is Bride of Vengeance, starring Paulette Goddard, John Lund, and MacDonald Carey. Jimmy Stewart can currently be seen in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production, The Stratton Story. Frank Capra is currently producing and directing the Paramount picture Riding High, starring Bing Crosby. Included in tonight's cast were Arthur Hugh Bryan, Joseph Granby, Hans Conried, Irene Tedrow, Georgia Backus, Herb Butterfield, and Barbara Eiler. It's a Wonderful Life was adapted for radio by Milton Geiger, and original music was composed and conducted by Henry Russell. Production was under the supervision of Howard Wiley, associate producer Bill Karn. Your announcer has been Frank Barton.
Great cast, great story. April 8th, 1949, the Screen Directors Playhouse on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to our friend Ted at RadioMemories.com for sending us this episode of Lum and Abner. This goes back to some of the earlier shows we have. May 8th, 1935, it appears that Lum is going to start a chain letter.
Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner, brought to you by the makers of Horlicks, the original malted milk. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Well, Lum and Abner learned yesterday that Grandpappy Spears was responsible for getting their money back from Squire Skimp on the fake diamond deal. And they've given the old fellow a permanent position in their Jot-'em-Down store as a reward. Yesterday, Lum received a strange letter from Denver, Colorado. And as we look in on Pine Ridge today, we find Dick Huddleston over at the Jot-'em-Down store explaining it to Lum. Listen.
Why, no, that's what they call a chain letter, Lum. I've been reading about them in the paper, but that's the first one I've seen.
Chain letter?
Yeah, it just keeps going on and on like an endless chain.
Well, it's done got here, though. Can't go no further now.
Well, you're supposed to make copies of this letter and send them to 5 of your friends. And then they'll send them to their friends, and they'll send them to their friends, and it keeps on till eventually, why, you ought to get 15,625 answers back, according to this here.
You mean if I just send out 5 of them, I'll get over 15,000 answers for me?
Well, that's the idea of it. If nobody breaks the chain, you will.
And every one of them's supposed to have a dime in them, huh?
Yeah, they're supposed to. If they all sent in, why, you'd get $1,562.50.
And all it cost me is just 10 cents, huh?
Yeah, all you're supposed to do is just send a dime to the name on the top of that list.
Granny, that looks like a good proposition to me. I'm going to get busy on that. I'll send you one of the letters, Dick, so you can get rich, too.
No, don't send me one. I don't believe I want to get mixed up in it, Lum.
Well, why not? Granny, it just cost you a dime, and you make over $1,500 out of it.
Well, you send them to somebody else, Lum. It sounds good and all that, but I've always figured a man's got to work for what he gets. These get-rich-quick schemes look awful good on paper, but they never pan out right. Nobody's going to give you nothing, Lum.
Well, if you don't want in on it, I won't send you one. See, I'll send one to Abner. I want to help him if I can. Let's see, Grandpappy Spears and Mose Moots down at the barber shop. He'll be a good one.
Yeah, Mose will take a chance on anything.
Well, he ought to. Folks takes a chance when they go in that barber shop of his, I'll say that.
Yeah, especially if he gets to talking, don't pay any attention to what he's doing.
Yeah, I got a shave down there the other day, and my face has been burning like fire ever since.
Well, I won't let him shave me anymore. I'll stop.
Well, I never aimed to let him shave me, neither. I just sitting there in the barber chair listening to the Macmillan boys play the mouth organ guitar and just dropped off to sleep, and when I woke up, he had me shaved and charged me 10 cents for it. This'll give me a chance to get that dime back off of it.
And I don't see how in the world that you ever slept through him give me a shave, Lum.
Well, I don't neither. He must have chloroformed me to do it, I think.
Well, a fella needs an anesthetic all right when he shaves you.
Felt like somebody had took and beat my whiskers off with a wet rope.
Well, I don't mind the razor as much as I do those hot towels he puts on your face. They're hot enough to scald a hog.
Yeah, he can't hold them in his hand, they're so hot. He's got to drop them somewhere, so he just throws them over your face to get shut of them, I think.
That's right.
Well, let's see now. Abner and Grandpap and Mose. Believe I'll send Doc Miller one. That's 4.
How about Uncle Henry Lunsford or Ezra Seastrunk?
Well, I don't know. It says to be sure whoever you send them to will send them on to somebody else. Caleb Weehunt, I believe, will take a chance on this.
Yeah, Caleb be a good one. Yeah.
Well, that gets 5 of them right there. That's going to be right smart of a job to write all the... We ain't got a typewriter neither, I granny. I'm a notion to get Evelina to send them out for me. I'll tell you what I can do. Let's see.
She ought to be home from school by this time.
Yeah, what are you fixing to do there, Lum?
Well, I just had an idea here. I'm going to call her up.
Well, I expect I better be going, Lum. I've got to get back to the store.
Well, don't rush off, Dick.
Well, I'll see you later. Let me know how you come out on those letters.
Yeah, I will, Dick. So long. Hello. I'll see you later. No, wait a minute. Hello. I was just hollering at the feller leaving the store here. Who is this, Sister Simpson? Let me speak to Evelina, please, Mom.
Well, Dick, I never even knowed you was over here. Well, I just dropped in for a minute, Ed. Sorry I missed you. Come back again. Yeah, I will, sure.
Hello?
Oh, hello, Lum.
How are you, Evelina?
Well, all right, I reckon. Huh? Who'd you call me?
I ain't talking to you, Abner. I'm talking to Evelina over the telephone here.
Oh, excuse me. I never noticed you was talking at the phone.
Oh, I was just talking to Abner here. Evelina, what I called you up about, I've got to make 5 copies of a letter.
What are you hollering at me?
I just wondered if you couldn't get some of the scholars down there at school to write them for me. Well, you know, when you keep them in after school, you generally make them write some word or something 500 times, something like that. I just wondered if you couldn't make them copy this letter for me, as long as they've got to write something anyway. Oh, it's just a letter. I'll bring it over when I come over tonight. All right. All right, much obliged to you. That'll be fine. Well, I'll see you tonight then. All right. All right, Evelina, goodbye. Granny, that'll be a saving of time.
What's that, Lum?
Why, I've got to make 5 copies of this letter I got yesterday, so Evelina's going to have the young'uns down there at school do it for me.
You mean the letter you got from your Uncle Lige out there in Denver, Colorado?
Well, yeah, but that ain't from my uncle, though. Dick says that's a chain letter.
Uh-huh. Says it's a what?
A chain letter. All I got to do is send that feller on top a dime, and I get $1,562.50 back.
You mean he'll send you that much money for just a dime?
Well, yes.
Well, order me a dime's worth, too, then, while you're at it, Lum.
Well, he don't exactly send it to you, Abner. See, the way this thing works, I've got to make 5 copies of this letter and send them to 5 of my friends, and each one of them does the same thing that I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
They send the top name on this list, a dime, and then put their name on at the bottom of the list, and when their name gets to the top of the list, why, they're supposed to get 15,625 letters, and each one's supposed to have a dime in it.
Well, I do know. Well, does it make any difference who you send them to?
No. Send them to anybody you want to. They don't care who you send them to. I'm going to send you one. That shows right there don't make no difference. Then you can send 5 of your friends.
And a feller's supposed to make over $1,500 out of it, huh?
That's what the letter says.
Well, dog it, I believe I'll just send all 5 of mine to myself, then.
To yourself?
Why, yeah, if I can make $1,500 off of one, well, I'll make 5 times that much anyway if I send them all to myself.
Granny, wait a minute here. I hadn't thought about that.
Why, sure.
Well, I don't know where I want to send them out to somebody else or not.
Well, now, here now, Lum, you've got to send me one. You've done said that you would now.
Well, I'll send you one, but you've got to send me one back. That'll make us even again.
Yeah, well, I'll do that. Yes, sir, I'd love to get in on that thing. Dog, that's the easiest money I ever heard of.
Of course, you've got to wait till your name gets to the top of the list before you start getting back any money, though.
Well, I'll just put my name up there to start with. Put it on top instead of the bottom man.
Well, now, wait a minute here. We're getting ourselves sort of mixed up here.
Yeah.
I don't believe that'll work. I'm feared we'd be sending ourselves $1,500 that way.
Well, I couldn't send myself that much, for I ain't got it.
Let me see now.
Of course, I could owe myself part of it, I reckon. But that wouldn't do no good. I don't believe I'd ever pay it. I don't pay myself very good.
Well, Abner, this thing's got me all mixed up, but I believe the best thing for us to do, just go ahead and send them out to our friends like the letter says. No use to make hogs out of ourselves.
Hogs?
Yeah, we ought to be satisfied with $1,500 for just a dime invest.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, old Lum, I believe you give me an idea then.
Give you an idea?
Why, yeah, folks around here are sort of short on money, Lum, but they've all got more hogs than they know what to do with.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we start one of these here chain letter businesses, and instead of sending a dime, send them a hog?
Send hogs?
Yes, sir. We could get that many hogs back instead of dimes that way.
Granny, wait a minute here. Now you have thought of something.
Why, sure.
You know how many hogs we'd get out of that? $15,625.
For the land sake.
And they ought to average up Razorbacks and all. They ought to bring $3 apiece.
Oh, they'll do that.
That'd be $45,000 worth of hogs.
45,000.
Yeah, hand me that letter there. Granny's me and you starting a hog chain letter right now. See there, that ain't gonna be no bother to change that where it says rop 1 dime in a piece of paper and send it. We'll just change that to rop 1 hog. Well, we won't rop him up, but just send a hog. Yeah, that'll help everybody.
Yeah.
Eventually, every man, woman, and child in the United States will have 15,625 hogs apiece.
Well, now, wait a minute, Lum. Where in the world will they all come from now? I never knowed there was that many hogs.
Well, I don't know about that. They just have to get them somewhere. All they got to do is just send 1 hog. They ought to be able to find just one.
Oh, yeah,
that's what
right.
I say. That'll run the price up on hogs. The farmer will get more for his hogs, and the railroad company will get to ship them all over the country, and feed prices will go up. Hey, Granny's, talk about farm relief. Hey, Granny's, this is it.
Well, it may be a great idea, but we just hope we don't get one of those chain letters. 15,625 is a lot of hogs. This is Carlton Brickert speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who bid you all good night and good health.
You want to tell the boys? I don't want to tell the boys. Not at all. May 8th, the youngsters don't understand. May 8th, 1935, Lum and Abner on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for sending us these great classic radio programs of Lum and Abner. He's got all sorts of shows. Just go to RadioMemories.com. He can send you shows on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer at a reasonable cost. RadioMemories.com. Thanks for tuning in. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows. Find lists of sites that have all of our shows available for podcast all 21 hours a week. You can find our social media links, and you can buy me a coffee. That Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections. classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.